Hello to all our listeners. This is Mishne Tora in English. We are studying today Shabbat, Hilchot Shabbat, chapter 26, chapter Kaf-Vav. I'm Joey Faur here teaching. So I'll just give a quick introduction to our chapter, as I always do. In the previous chapter, we saw very clear rules for what is permitted to be carried and what is prohibited to be carried on Shabbat. So we have objects that are permitted and objects that are prohibited. In this chapter, we will see some odd cases, what we call Yosem min HaKlal, and we will see objects that according to the rules, so we will see a few types. We'll see certain objects that according to the rules specified in the previous chapters should be allowed to be carried, but nevertheless the sages forbade carrying them for some other reasons. We will see that specifically. And as well, we will see objects that are forbidden to be carried because by the rules, yet the sages permitted carrying them in certain circumstances. This chapter is based on the rules and conditions presented in the previous chapter. Therefore, I highly recommend that anyone who did not study last chapter does so before listening to this class or before studying this one. So, Halakha Aleph, we will start right now. Halakha Aleph. Kol keli ha'oreg. Okay? V'habalim v'kanim shelo mutar letaltelan kechli shemelachtan le'isur. I'll explain the whole halakha. First, I will read it. Then I will get to explaining the specific details of this halakha. It's a little bit difficult to explain in a recording, but I will try my best. So חוס מכובד העליון וכובד התחתון לפי שאינן ניטלים מפני שהן תקועים. וכן העמודין של אורג אסור לטלטלן שמי תקן הגומות שלהן ושאר כלי האורג מותרים. So I'm going to reread now. So כל כלי האורג, any instruments of weaving, והחבלים וקנית שלו, including its ropes and sticks, they are all permitted to be לטלטלן based on the conditions of Keli She'melachto Le'isur. In this, I will allow myself now to just do a quick, small hazara on what we said about Keli She'melachto Le'isur and Keli She'melachto Le'heter. A Keli She'melachto Le'heter is a object or an instrument, vessel, that its classic use is a permitted use, and this type of object is permitted to be used, permitted to be carried, what we call Lesorech Guf Asmo, to protect the instrument itself, lesorech gufo, to use the instrument for a permitted use, or lesorech mikomo, or for the place that the instrument is in, this vessel is in. A keli she'melachto le'isur is an object that its classical use is a prohibited one. Therefore, to move it lesorech asmo, for itself, for the protection of the keli itself, is prohibited. To move it lesorech gufo, to move it to use this keli for some sort of permitted use is mutar, and to use it to move the object for its space, the space that it is taken, is also mutar. So now I'll go over the halakha and I will explain once more. Mehillah, for the repetitiveness, it was important for me to refresh the memories of those who even studied last chapter. So kol kerei ha'oreg, any instruments of weaving, as well as its ropes and sticks, and I will explain how this instrument of weaving looks. It is allowed to be carried based on the conditions of a keli that is like a keli that is melachto le'isur. Except the top and bottom sticks or beams of this instrument, because they are not movable, because they are stuck in place. Also, the amudim of the oreg, also the beams that are on the sides of this instrument, are not allowed to be carried because there's a chance, because they were planted deep in the ground, and it was there's a chance that if the person will unplant them from their place in the ground, he will see the holes and he will flatten them, which is asur on Shabbat mishum choresh. Now, how does this weaving instrument look? The weaving instrument is very simply like this. I will try to describe it as best as possible. Okay, so the weaving instrument is an instrument that they used to use in olden times to weave. And it was composed of 4 beams. That is what I'll call the skeleton. And also strings from the top beams to the bottom beams. So these 4 beams, you would have 2 on the sides, okay, from top to bottom. They'd be standing up straight, erect. So 2 erect beams on the sides, right and left. And in between these beams, you would have a stick on the top, another smaller beam on the top, and a smaller beam connected to them on the bottom. All these beams were stuck firmly in place. So the side beams would be stuck in the ground, and the top and bottom beams would be stuck to the side beams. This is what I call the skeleton of the weaving instrument. This cannot be moved and is not permitted to be moved on Shabbat. However, there were strings connected to these from the top beams to the bottom beams for the purpose of weaving. And there were more different parts and different counterparts of this instrument of weaving. These may be moved on Shabbat. So, like any keli that melachto le'isur, and that is sufficient. For more, I would recommend searching on Google the words kele ha'oreg, okay? And you should see a plethora of pictures. Halacha bet. Machbedot shel temara. Yes. So, machbedot shel temara. In the date trees, till today, there's some sort of natural broomstick-like leaves that come out of the date tree. I've used this myself many times. It's really like a broomstick. And this law applies as well to broomsticks. So any broomstick, that are used to broom the ground. Broom or rake the ground. These are like keli and all those conditions because it's permitted to broom on Shabbat. Bricks that were left from building. They are like a keli because they are usable for leaning on them. Because they may be used for leaning if you make them, if you fix them for leaning. However, if you put them one on top of the other in a way for building, then he caused them to be keli shemelachto le'isur. He caused them to be mukseh, and then they are asur for tiltul. Halacha gimel. Haris ketana, a small piece of clay. Mutar letaltilaha afilu b'rshut rabim ho'il v're'uyahi b'chaser lechasot baha pi keli katan. A small piece of clay may be carried even in the public domain, but by public domain I mean within a 4 amot radius that is permitted for everybody to carry in, as because re'uyahi b'chaser, it has a small use of heter, a permissible use of covering a small vessel, a small keli, small object. Okay, covering the whole of a small object. Megufat habit shenitqattita hi ushbareha mutar letaltila. A cover of a barrel that was broken, the cover and the breaks of the cover may be carried as well as the barrel itself. However, if you threw these pieces away into the garbage before Shabbat, they are not allowed to be carried because on Ben HaShemoshot they were muksim. A instrument of sorts that broke, he may not take out one of the some sort of vessel of clay that broke. You may not pull out one of the breaks. It cracked. It had cracks in it. It wasn't broken yet. So you may not pull out from the cracks pieces of clay, or for any other use. This is like mukseh. Halacha dalit. Mutar le'achnis lebet hakiseh shalosh abanim mekurzalos lekanech bahen. A person may bring into the bathroom with him. They did not used to have toilet paper in those days, so they would use stones to clean themselves after using the facilities. So he's saying, Harabam is saying that you may enter the bathroom with 3 avanim mekurzalot, 3 soft, unrough stones that they would use for the specific use that I previously mentioned, to with them into the bathroom. Then the amount is the amount that fills up the palm. However, bringing dirt that is like very unfirm not like a stone, like dirt to clean oneself, is not permitted to carry. Also, these stones may be brought up to the roof, where I guess people used to relieve themselves on the roof when nobody could see them. Also, to do the same thing. Also, if it rained on those stones and they got covered by mud, if they are visible even under the mud, they may be taken out of the mud because they're keli shemilachto leheter, and you're taking it out of keli shemilachto leisur, it is mutar. Even sheyesh aleha tinuf shevadai lekinuah hi, you're taking it out of something that's mukseh, it is mutar. Even sheyesh aleha tinuf shevadai lekinuah hi, mutar letatila afilu hi gedola. A stone that is covered with some dirt, and the stone itself is for sure a stone that is used for the cleaning of oneself after the bathroom, after relieving oneself, it is permitted to use the stone even if it is a large stone. Halacha he. So now we're talking about the hierarchy of different objects. If you have two of them, which one is more preferred to use? So somebody from the halacha of mukseh. So somebody who has clay, some pieces of clay or dirt, it is preferred that he uses the dirt on Shabbat and not the clay, because the clay is more rough than the dirt and it may cause a person to be hurt. However, if the clay was from the top outer part of clay objects, that these top outer parts used to be softer and less rough, then he may use the clay. Person who had asavim, grass and serorot and dirt, he may use, if the asavim were soft, then he may use them to clean himself. However, if not, if the dirt was softer, then he may use the dirt. Okay, withered straw mats. Okay, withered mats of straw. They are considered a keli shemilachto leheter. Because their apparent classic use is to cover the disgusting dirt. However, the remnants of clothing that don't have 3x3 isba'ot on them, which is a very small amount, are not allowed to be used because they are not usable for ashirim, for rich people, or even for poor people. There's no apparent use for them, and they are they are mukseh. Shibret tanur, the breaks of a artisan oven, or of a furnace. Okay, so shibret tanur mutar letaltilan ve'arehen kekelim shemilachtan leheter. They are allowed to be carried, and they are considered like kelim shemilachtan leheter. Kira shenishmeta achat meirchoteha asul letaltila shemitaka. A kira is a stove top. In those days, what I mean by stove top is some sort of it would be like a clay vessel that would have two holes in it. And I would recommend anybody who wants to learn about this more in depth, listen to chapter 3 or study chapter 3. It would be like a clay vessel with two holes in it, and these two holes you would put on them a pot. So these kirot would have legs. So if one of its legs was missing, then it is not permitted to carry it, because there's a chance that yitaka, that it will get stuck, that he will by mistake fix the broken leg, and that is asur on Shabbat. Halacha zayin. Sulam shel aliyah asur letaltelo she'en alav torat keli. A ladder that is planted in place to go up from one floor to another in a house may not be used because it is not considered a keli. It's considered like part of the house. Vishel sobach mutar lehatatu. However, if a bird coop is permitted to move because it is made to be moved, and it is not, and it has on it torat keli, it is a keli. However, you may not take the ladder, move the ladder from coop to coop, or from bird coop to bird coop, so that he does not end up doing what he usually does on the weekdays and end up hunting birds. So a rod that was used to cause the olives to fall off the tree, if they have torat keli, meaning if it is a specific apparent vessel, meaning this rod is seen, it is visible on the rod that it is used for the specific use of mesikat zetim, then it may be used through the conditions of keli shemelachto leisur. However, if it was also okay, קנה שהתקינו בעל הבית להיות פותח ונועל בו אם יש תורת כלי עליו לכלי שמלאכתו להיתר. Another rod, a rod that the people would use, the individual would use for private use to lock his door like a bolt, if it had torat keli alav, an obvious apparent visibility of a keli, then that was used for a specific use, then it would be able to use like a keli shemelachto leheter. However, halacha hayt, דלת שהיה להסיר, אף על פי שאין לה עתה סיר שהכינה לסתום בה מקום מוקצה, והיא נגררת שנוטלים אותה וסותמים בה, וכן חדקים שסותמים בהן הפרסה, וכן מחסלת הנגררת, בזמן שקשורים ותלויים בכותל סותמים בהם, ואם לאו, אין נועלים בהם. A door that has hinges, even though it is currently not on its hinges, or does not currently have hinges. For example, you use the door to cover a certain spot in the house, and the door itself is draggable, and they would put it in certain areas to cover certain areas. Or you would use also little covers that they would use to cover cracks in the walls or in the floors. Also a mat that is draggable. If they are connected to the wall in a certain way, in other words, there's some sort of something keeping them connected to the wall, then they may be used to cover. If not, they may not be used to cover, they may not be used to lock the door, they may not be used at all. However, if they were above the ground a certain amount, then they may be used. Okay. דלת שהיא לוח אחד, הלכה ט'. דלת שהיא לוח אחד, ששומטין אותה ונועלים בה. אם לא היה לה למיטה, כמו כן אסקופה, שמוכיח עליה שהיא כלי מוכן לנעילה, אין נועלים בה. So a door that was one tablet, like one door. It was one thing. It wasn't two doors. That you take it out, in and out, and lock it. אם לא היה לה למטה כמו כן אסקופה, שמוכיח עליה שהיא כלי מוכן לנעילה, אין נועלים בה. If it did not have under it some sort of wedge that it would enter when opening and closing the door, okay, then you may not use it because there's nothing pointing out to the apparency of this being a door. Also, a bolt, a neged, is a lock bolt that has a build shape that points out to its usage. שמוכחת עליו שהוא כלי מוכן לנעילה ואינו קורה כשאר הקורות נועלים בה בשבת, because it is visible that it is apparently that it has an apparent use for locking as a bolt, then it therefore may be used to lock on Shabbat. However, הלחיות, נר שאין בראשו כלוסתרה, a bolt that does not have some sort of build shape on top of it pointing out to its usage and just looks like a beam, a random beam, if it was tied and hung on the door, in other words, you see that it has an apparent usage, it may be locked with. Also, even if it was taken out of the door, it has some sort of something tied around it that points to its apparent usage, it still may be used. However, if this bolt may be taken out completely, and after it's taken out, you don't see any of its apparent usage markings on it, then it may not be used. Because it does not have torat keli. There's nothing pointing out to the fact that this is, in fact, a special, specific keli and not just a regular random beam. Halacha Yod Aleph. Menorah shel huliyot. Ben gedola ben ketana en metaltelin otaha. A candlestick that is made of separate pieces, or looks like it's made of separate pieces, whether it's big or small, may not be carried on Shabbat, because there's a chance that he may connect the separate pieces one to another, and this is like boneh. היו בה חדקים, והיא נראית כבעלת חוליות, אם היה תגידו לה ניטלת בשתי ידיים אסור לטלטלה. If it looked like it was made out of pieces, but wasn't in fact made out of pieces. If it was large, so that it could be carried only with two hands, it cannot be carried. Because if it breaks, he may connect it. However, if it could be carried with one hand, he may carry this candlestick. הלכה י"ב. מנעל שעל גבי האימום. A shoe that is on top of a shoe mold. שומטין אותו בשבת. Maybe the shoe may be taken out of the shoe mold on Shabbat. מכבש של בעלי בתים מתירין, אבל לא כובשים. A press that would be used to iron clothing. If it's in private usage, של בעלי בתים, then you may take out, you may undo it and take out clothing from it. However, you may not use it on Shabbat. ושל כובסין, however, if it's used for industrial use, for laundromat, etc., לא ייגע בו מפני שהוא מוקסם מחמת חסרון כיס. You may not touch it because it is מוקסם מחמת חסרון כיס. It is something which he is stringent upon. He's scared that it'll break because it is used for industrial use. And if anything happens to it, it may cause him monetary damage. וכן כי זה סמר אין מטלטלין אותן מפני שהוא מקפיד עליהם. Also, pieces of wool may not be carried because he is stringent upon them, and it becomes a keli shemilachto leisur. Lefichach im yihadan letashmish mutarin there. However, if they were put for a certain use, he may use them on Shabbat because they lose their status of keli shemilachto leisur. Keli she מוקסם מחמת חסרון כיס. והשלחין מותר לטלטלן בניו של בעל הבית או של אומן מפני שאינו מקפיד עליהן. However, pieces of leather are allowed to be used on Shabbat, are allowed to be carried on Shabbat, whether or not they were for private use or for industrial use, because these are things that people are less stringent upon, and they do not fall under the hagdara, they do not fall under the thing of keli that muksem hamat hisron kis. Halakha yod gimel. Kol davar metunaf. Anything disgusting, dirty. Kiron rei v'ki v'so'a v'chayose b'hen, like feces or human vomit, etc. Im hayu b'chaser sheyoshevin baha, mutar lehosi'an la'ashpa lebet hagisa. If they were in a place which people normally sit in, they may be thrown out to the garbage or to the bathroom. V'zehu hanikra geraf shel re'i. This is what you call geraf shel re'i, the taking out of re'i. Re'i is anything like that, anything dirty like that. V'im hayu b'chaser acheret. Re'i is literally like human waste. V'im hayu b'chaser acheret. Kofin aleha keli kede shelo yeseh haqatan v'yitlachlich behin. However, if they were in another haser, okay, not a haser that most people usually sit in, but a haser that is not usually inhabited by people, you may cover it with a keli, with some sort of a vessel, so that little children do not get dirty by the re'i. Rok she'ala karka, spit that is on the ground, doreso lefitumo veholech, maybe walked upon in a nonchalant manner. While he's walking, he may walk over it. Now, spit that is on the ground, usually we would say not to rub it with cloth, because he may this way flatten the holes that are in the ground, and this is asur. But if he does doreso lefitumo, if he's just walking on it nonchalantly, and while he's walking he steps on it, it is mutar. ומטלטלים כנונה מפני אפרו, אף על פי שיש עליו שברי עשים, מפני שהוא כגרף של רעי. Also, a portable chimney, heating oven, that is a kenuna, or chenuna, may be carried because of its ashes, which are very dirty, and because it has, even though it has broken aitzim in it, which are mukseh, nevertheless it is mutar like a geraf shel re'i, as previously mentioned in this halacha. Ve'en osin geraf shel re'i lechatahila b'Shabbat. However, lechatahila on Shabbat, it is not permitted to do this geraf shel re'i action unless you really need to, like in the case above, unless you already have the dirt there. So if you need to clean it, then you may. However, if the geraf shel re'i was there, or it A geref shari'i is the pail that you would put the human waste into. So you're not allowed to take a pail and turn it into a human waste bin for vomit or feces or whatever. However, if it was already turned, if a pail was already turned into that, it may be, it does not have to be, it could be used. Halakha Yadalit. שמן שיוצא מתחת הקורה של בית הבד בשבת. So oil that comes out of the olive press on Shabbat. וכן תמרים ושקדים המוכנים לסחורה. Also dates and almonds that are ready for commerce. מותר לאוכלם בשבת, are allowed to be eaten on Shabbat. ואפילו וסר של תבואה או תבואה סבורה, מתחיל להסתפק ממנה בשבת. Even a stash of grain or grain that was put in a specific stack may be used on Shabbat. שאין שם אוכל שהוא מוקצה בשבת כלל, אלא הכל מוכן הוא. Because food is not considered מוקצה on Shabbat, because food is always considered mukhan, is always considered ready for human consumption. This is except certain very specific cases which are mentioned, I believe, in Hilchot Yom Tov. And this is hos. Oh, here he brings the cases that come out of it that are not in this case. Hos מגרוגרת וסימוקין שבמוקצה בזמן שמייבשים אותנו אילו מצליחות בינתיים ואינן ראויים לאכילה הרי הן אסורים בשבת משום מוקצה, except for raisins and dried figs when they are in their drying area. They would put them either on the roof of a house where there's a lot of sun or in the field in a place where there's a lot of sun, because in the process of their drying, they at a certain point lose their fitness for human consumption, and then they are not fit for human consumption, and therefore they are not allowed to be eaten on Shabbat because they're mukse. חבית שנתגלתה ואבטיח שנשברה, אף על פי שאינן ראויים לאכילה נוטלן ומניחן במקום המוסנע. A barrel that was holding in it foods that broke, or a watermelon or melon or something like that opened, even though currently they are not fit for human consumption, he may pick them up and put them in a covered place so that whatever's inside them ripens as fast as possible, or so he waits for it to ripen when he wants to eat it. Kayosebo, as well as that. A talisman that is not of a mumhe, we said it needs to be a mumhe, is somebody who made a talisman, and we're talking about talisman for medicinal purposes. He made a medicinal talisman, and 3 times it worked, or it worked on 3 people's 3 talismans that he made. So this is considered mumhe. This is considered a talisman of a professional. If it's not of a professional, if it doesn't go under these conditions, it may be carried, even though it may not be walked outside with, it still may be carried. Mutar hashemen shebaner v'shebeka'ara she'edliku bahen be'ota shab. Okay, mutar hashemen shebaner. Mehila, one moment. Oh, motar hashemen shebaner, the remnants of the oil left in a candle. V'shabeke'ara she'edliku bahen be'ota Shabbat, or in a bowl that was lit in that Shabbat. Asur lehistabek mimenu be'ota Shabbat, mipnei shehu mukse mehamat isur. It is forbidden to use that oil that was left over from a lit candle on Shabbat, because it is mukse mehamat isur. It is mukse because of the not allowed usage. I mean, it was forbidden to touch ben hashemashot, and therefore it is forbidden also on Shabbat. Halakha tetvav. Osar shel tebuah or shel kadei yain, a stash of grain, or a one moment. The word slips my mind for osar. It will be a second. Osar shel tebuah or shel kadei yain is a storage house of grain, or of wine barrels. Even though it is permitted to enjoy the grain or the wine, it is asur to take out the things that are in the storage house, unless it's for a devar mitzvah, for something of a mitzvah. Kiron, for example, that he pinahu lachnasat orchaim, that he took out all the things that were in the storage house for the purpose of for taking in guests, or likba bit midrash, or to make a place of study, of Torah study. וכיצד מפנין אותו? כל אחד ואחד ממלא 4 או 5 קופות עד שגומרים. How do they empty out this place? Every one of the people helping empties out 4 or 5 canisters or kelim full vessels of whatever is in that storage house until they empty out the storage. ולא אחד בדוק על קעיתו של אוסר כמו שביארנו, אלא נכנס ויוצא בו ועושה שביל ברגלו בכניסתו ויציאתו. However, when he empties out the storage house, the grain or whatever is there, he may not clean the floor in it completely, because we said that the floors in their days used to be floors of dirt, meaning ground. And if he were to clean the whole floor, he may end up doing what's called hashva'at gumot. He may flatten the unflat areas in the ground, which is asur on Shabbat. Therefore, he does not take out everything. He leaves some hay on the floor or some grain left on the floor, and he walks wherever he wants to and makes a path by virtue of wherever he walks. Halakha Tetzayin. נחילה. כל שהוא ראוי למאכל בהמה וחיה ועוף המסויין, מטלטלין אותו בשבת. Anything that is fit for the consumption of animals that are misuyin, okay, that are eminent, that are right, mehila. So okay, mehila. So any food that is fit for the consumption of animals or birds, etc., that are available wherever the person is, are allowed to be carried on Shabbat. Kesed, Harabam will specify. Mitartelin et turmus yavesh. The turmus, I believe the word turmus is in English as well as in Hebrew, or in English it is also called lupine. So you're allowed to carry the dry lupine because it is a food for goats. However, you're not allowed to carry the humid, the wet lupine. Hasav, hasav is a type of food that they would give for deers, so it's also allowed to be carried. Hardal, the mustard seeds, because it is food for the pigeons. Asamot, bones, because they are food for dogs. And all of the peels and legumes that are edible, that are fit for the consumption of cattle, they may be carried. Anything that is not fit for the consumption of these things, he may eat whatever is fit for consumption and throw whatever is left out of his hands, and he may not carry them around with him. And a person may carry what's called basar tafuah, certain type of meat, in a certain what you call fattened, bloated meat may be carried because it is fit for the consumption of animals. Also, meat that was not cooked, uncooked meat, may be carried, whether it is salted or unsalted, because it is fit for human consumption. Also, salted fish, which is fit for human consumption. However, unsalted fish, which is not fit for human consumption, may not be carried due to its fitness for human consumption. Broken shards of glass may not be carried, even though they're edible for ostriches. And I'm assuming, I'm not sure, this is because ostriches are not an available animal that was found everywhere, or for another reason, which is not apparent here, but in any event, carrying shards of glass is asur. Also, bundles of twigs may not be carried, even though they are fit for the consumption of elephants. Velo et haluf af al pishu ma'achal orebim. Also, the luf, the arum, may not be carried, even though it is fit for the consumption of the crows. And Hannah brings the reason, so my intuition was right, because these foods, these animals, the ostrich and the elephants, are not animals that are found in most places. הלכה י"ח חבילי קש וחבילי עיסים וחבילי זרדין, אם התקינן למאכל בהמה מטלטלין אותן, ואם לאו אין מטלטלין אותן. Bundles of straw wood or twigs, if they were made for the consumption of animals, they may be carried. However, if not, they may not be carried. חבילה שאה ואזו וקורנית, הכניסן לעיסים, אין מסתפק בהם בשבת. למאכל בהמה מסתפק מהן. Also, bundles of na'ana and types of za'atar, also, if they were put for animal consumption, they may be used. But if they were put just for, if he had them just for the purpose of trees or burning, he may not use them. Also, with what's amita and pegam, spearmint and ruta plant, also may not be used. The same rules apply to them. If they were brought in for animal consumption, then yes. But if they were brought in for burning or something like that, that is not allowed, then they are not allowed to be used on Shabbat. Halacha yotet. En gorefin ma'achal mipenei hapetam. It is forbidden to ben be'ebuz shel keli, ben be'ebuz shel karka, ve'en mesalekin istadav mipenei harei. It is forbidden to sweep a feeding area of the fattened ox, whether it's a feeding area in a vessel of its own or on the ground. It is forbidden. And also, you're not allowed to move the food to the sides. Sorry, you're not allowed to move the food that was next to the fattened ox to the sides, from the the waste products of that fattened ox. Because we're afraid that he may end up flattening. All this is because we're afraid that he may flatten the poles in the ground. Also, it's mutar to carry food that was there for the consumption of a donkey and give it to a ox. However, it is not, the opposite is not permitted, because the food that was already in front of an ox is dirtied by the spit of the ox, and therefore by the mucus of the ox, and therefore is not edible for any other animal. Also very bad smelling leaves, which are not fit for animal consumption due to their bad smell, are not permitted to be carried. Teli shel dagim is like a thin rope that was made out of organic product, is not allowed to be carried, because although it is originally was fit for animal consumption, now it is not, because it became smelly and unfit for animal consumption due to the fish that were on it. However, a rope that held meat on it, which was made out of organic product, which is fit for animal consumption, because the meat that was on it does not ruin it from its being able to be consumed by animals. Okay. הלכה כ' אף על פי שאסור לטלטל את המת בשבת, סכין אותו ומדיחין אותו, ובלבד שלא יזיזו בו אבל. Even though it is not permitted to carry a carcass on Shabbat, the carcass may be rubbed in oils or rinsed on Shabbat, as long as they don't move a single part of the body. ושומטין את הקל מתחתיו כדי שיהיה מוטל על החול בשביל שימתין. Also, they may take out the pillows from under him, from under the carcass, so that he would be put straight on the ground, so that until the end of Shabbat, because they would want it to be straight on the ground, so the body stays as cool as possible, because the warmer the body is, the worse it deteriorates. Also, they may bring cold objects and cold and metals for the purpose of cooling, and put them on the torso of the carcass for the purpose of cooling off the person, so that he does not so that his carcass does not get ruined, deteriorate quickly. Also, this whole thing of cooling the carcass is to prevent it from deteriorating quickly and smelling and being halanat amit and the disrespect of a carcass. Has v'shalom. Also, they would close the different holes in the body of the carcass so that different so that the ruach doesn't enter them. I personally did not understand what he meant by Sheloi Kenes HaRuach. If anybody has a perush, I would love to hear. It is not apparent to me what he means by Sheloi Kenes HaRuach. Literally translated, it means so that the wind doesn't enter, but I'm not sure what he means. Also, for the dead person, they may close his jaw, force his jaw shut before the jaw becomes too hard to close, because if you wait, the jaw becomes very hard and then becomes unclosable. Also, it is not permitted to close the eyes of the dead person on Shabbat, for the reason that the second the person passes away, the eyes become very hard to close, and this is like hazazat ebar. Halacha kaf alef. A carcass that is in the sun may have a child or a piece of bread put on it, and then because of the child or the piece of bread, you may carry it by virtue of those things that are on it, like davar hamutar, that is al gabe davar ha'asur. וכן, אם נפלה דלקה בחסר שיש בה המת, מניח עליו כיכר או תינוק. ואם אין שם כיכר ולא תינוק, מסילין אותו מן הדלקה מכל מקום, שמי יבוא לכבות, מפני שהוא בהול על מתו, שלא יישרף. Also, if a dead person is in a fire, in a burning house, you may take the dead person out by virtue of a piece of bread or a child that you put on it. And if there's no piece of bread or child, you may take out the carcass even without the piece of bread or a child, because we're scared, because these laws of not being able to hold a dead person are dirabanat. They're not scriptural laws. And if we do not allow you to transgress, if Hachamim don't allow a person to transgress these dirabanan laws in such a situation, he might end up transgressing a deoraita law and putting out the fire so that the body does not get burnt. And people are behulim al metam. People will do this without even realizing they will transgress the deoraita law. And the reason this is because people are behulim al metam. People are ever so urgent for the dead, or anxious for their dead, for the dead that they have. הלכה כ"ב, היה מוטל בחמה ואין להם מקום לטלטלו, או שלא רצו להזיזו ממקומו. If there was a carcass put in the sun, and there was nowhere to move it, or they couldn't move it for whatever reason. Two people may come and sit to the sides of the carcass, and so to speak, be like a tent above the carcass to cool it, to keep it cool. If it's hot for them under, they may sit on beds or chairs or whatever and sit above the carcass. Also, if it is hot for them from above, it's too hot for them from their heads, they may bring some sort of mat and cover themselves with it. And as soon as they are in the situation which they're sitting on their bed and they have a mat on top of them, one person may take his bed, turn it over, and have his mat on the bed like half a tent, and then the other person could do the same to his, and it is not like they did a melacha of building a tent. It was something kil ahariyad. It was not a tent built in the manner that tents are usually built, therefore it is mutar, and then they have a tent covering the mit, a type of tent covering the carcass from the sun. ונמצאת מחיסה עשויה מאליה שהרי מחסלת זו ומחסלת זו כגהן סמוכות זו לזו ושני כסותיהן על הקרקע משני צידי המת, as I explained. הלכה כ"ג, the final הלכה for this chapter. מת שהסריח בבית ונמצא מתבזה בין החיים והם מתבזים ממנו, מותר להוציאו לכרמלית. So a carcass that um, um, was hisriyah babai, became despicable and smelled terrible, and it ends up that it's, and in this type of situation, it's mitbasib and ahayim, it is disrespecting the living, and the living, it's disrespected as it is in its current situation in between the living because of the smell, and the living are being disrespected from it. It is permitted to take it out to a karmelit, which is, as we said, a place that is usually forbidden to take out, a domain which is usually forbidden to take things out into. It is mutar for this specific situation. A karmelit is somewhere that is not reshut rabim, it is not public domain, nor is it private domain. It is asur, it is prohibited to take things out from derabbanan, and therefore, for this case of a carcass, gadol kevod, Chachamim say, gadol kevod aberiot shedohet lo ta'aseh shebatorah, shehu lo tasur min hadavar asher yagidu lecha, the respect of human beings is larger in this specific situation than is very big, and therefore it is doheh, it surpasses a negative commandment of lo tasum min hadavar asher yagidu lecha, do not go away from that which Hachamim have told you. However, if the people in the house had another place which they could reside in until the dead person is taken out, then they should reside there, and the dead person may not be taken out to a karmelit. And in this we conclude our chapter. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen.